Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Once again, we're gonna go for another video. This is your host Jerome Sapologia. Today we're gonna respond to a Muslim who has questioned with a question on the comment section. And here is the question. Even if we were to grant that Jesus had authority to judge the world, the Bible shows he doesn't inherently have the authority to do so. How do we say that? Because in John 5:22, for the Father judges no one, but has given all judgment to the Son. Which means, why does Jesus need to be given all judgmental authority by the Father? Surely, if he was God, he would inherently have this authority, right? Therefore, Jesus is not God. Now, that's a very good question to ask. And here's my response. On the surface, it sounds like Jesus' authority is delegated, as if he is merely an agent of God, not God himself. But when we step back and read the whole counsel of Scripture, we find something deeper. The Bible presents Jesus as both fully divine and functioning in submission to the Father, two truths that are not contradictory but complementary. Now, let's walk through this by covering 5 key points. The first point is understanding John 5:22 in context. Okay, that's true. John 5:22 says, for the Father judges no one, but has given all judgment to the Son. And John 5:27 adds, and he has given him authority to execute judgment because he is the Son of Man. So what's happening here? This passage is part of a longer dialogue where Jesus is defending his actions and claims, particularly his healing on the Sabbath. The Jewish leaders are accusing him not just of breaking the Sabbath, but of making himself equal with God. John 5:18. Jesus doesn't deny this. In fact, he confirms it by saying he does everything the Father does in John 5:19, and that he gives life just as the Father does in John 5:21. So when Jesus says the Father has given him judgment, he is not saying he lacks divinity. He is explaining the Trinitarian roles within the plan of redemption, how the Father, Son, and Spirit operate in perfect unity, yet with distinct persons and missions. The second key point is judging the world is a divine prerogative. In the Old Testament, only God judges all people. In Genesis chapter 18 verse 25, it says, shall not the judge of all the earth do right? In Psalms 9:8, it says, he will judge the world in righteousness. In Ecclesiastes 12:14, it says, for God will bring every deed into judgment. So the act of judging all humanity is not something any created being or mere prophet can do. Only God has the right wisdom and holiness to judge the world. Now let's look at how the New Testament talks about Jesus. In Acts 17:31, it says, God will judge the world in righteousness by the man he has appointed, that is Jesus Christ. 2 Corinthians 5:10, we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, of Jesus Christ. Matthew 25 verse 31 to 46, Jesus sitting on his glorious throne judges the nations, an unmistakable portrayal of divine authority. If Jesus is the one who judges all humanity, he must share in the divine nature. Scripture does not give judgment to angels or prophets, it gives to God alone. That's why Jesus can be trusted to judge, because he is not just a man, he is God the Son. And the third key point is, given authority does not deny divinity. Now, what do I mean by this? It's true, Jesus says the Father gives him the authority, but here's the key. Being given something within the Trinity doesn't imply inferiority. Rather, it reflects the functional roles within the Godhead. Take Philippians 2:6-11 for example. Though he was in very nature God, he did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied himself, and being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself. Therefore God has highly exalted him. This is a profound mystery. Jesus, fully divine, takes on human nature and submits to the Father during his earthly ministry. This is what theologians call the economic trinity. So Jesus being given authority to judge is not about lack of divinity, it's about his role as the incarnate Son who acts on behalf of humanity. The fourth key point is this: the Son must be honored as the Father is. This is where John 5 gets powerful. Right after saying that the Father gives judgment to the Son, Jesus says that all may honor the Son just as they honor the Father. John 5:23. Now let's reflect on that. To honor the Jesus the same way we honor the God, the Father, is an unmistakable claim to deity. If Jesus were a mere creature, no matter how exalted, then honoring him as God would be idolatry. But Scripture commands it. Revelation 5 shows all creation bowing down and worshipping the Lamb alongside the Father. Jesus receives the same glory, honor, and worship due to God alone.